Hello, welcome to TisTalk.
Welcome to TisTalk. This is a podcast coming from Tisbury, Wiltshire and surrounding villages. I'm Iain Murphy.
And I'm Mary Myers.
It's Monday the 24th of February, and actually it's Mary Myers alone today. Me alone. No Julianne today. She's just having a week off. And we've got a special programme today. It's all about nature. So we've got Peter Shallcross talking about farming and conservation. Then we've got the lovely nature writer Jeni Bell, who's in the woods and talking about first signs of spring. And then we have two new contributors to TisTalk called the Ramblers, and they are Iain Giles and Nigel Timms. And they'll be talking about a walk they did recently around the Cranborne Chase. So I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, Peter.
Morning, Mary.
I understand January and February quiet times. So shall we go straight to your conservation work?
Yes, like you say, there's not very much happening on the farm. The cows are in. It's just routine work for the winter. We can't get onto the fields to do very much. We can do a bit of fencing. There's a bit of hedge cutting going on, tree planting and feeding the farmland birds, which happens 2 or 3 times a week. So the tree planting, we're continuing to plant the hedge in Chantry. So we've been doing that for 4 or 5 years or longer, and it's all with donated trees. So a nice lady in Tisbury called Emma, and she grows a lot of trees from seed, acorns. In the next few weeks, we're going to plant the trees that she's propagated. And there's also a whole load of trees that came through the Woodland Trust via the NFU. So there are several hundred of those we've been planting. So all sorts of different free trees we've been planting, which has been taking up a bit of time when the weather's good enough to plant.
And do those encourage birds? And if so, just tell me about which birds are around at the moment.
There's a lot of farmland birds around. They're all in, or most of them are in flocks, and it's mostly finches, and they depend on small seeds at this time of year. The ones I'm thinking of, there's other birds obviously that feed on insects, invertebrates, like the migratory birds, the fieldfare and the redwing from Scandinavia at this time of year. But the birds we can encourage are the seed eaters, and so already farmers plant birdseed mixes, which are overwintered brassica crops, and there's a lot of seed within the kale plants, seed that's dropped on the ground which they can eat, and that's encouraging lots of linnets, yellowhammers, skylarks as well. But there's never enough feed like that on the farm at this time of year, because they've eaten most of it. So what we call is the hungry gap is coming, which is a period during February and March, particularly when the seed sources are very, very depleted. And of course, that's why a lot of birds are found on bird feeders as well this time of year, because they're fairly short of seed. And so we've got siskins on the parents' bird feeders now. So they're finishing their older catkins and they're coming on the bird feeders. But on the farm, we feed in 4 different places, 2 tons of feed a week. And there's a mixture of small seeds, like a bigger seed like wheat, and smaller seed like linseed and millet. And that's mixed together and put on hard tracks, basically dry places next to hedges. The hedges provide cover so the birds feel safe to come onto the ground. And we spread it into a strip several hundred meters long, and it does attract a lot of birds.
And what about plovers?
Yeah, so when we've been tree planting, the hedge planting on Chantry, there was a flock of 5 plovers. So these are lapwings there, which is very encouraging, because I think this is a pattern from previous years where the birds that breed in the spring, they are present in the winter as a flock. And they come and go. I don't know where else they go, but they do come back regularly, casing to see if there's predators, if there's a place to breed. If the field was in winter wheat, they wouldn't stay. There'd be nowhere for them to breed, so they'd probably go off and try to find somewhere else. Matt Fry has very kindly cultivated the plot for them, which is the 2-hectare plot in the middle of the field, which they have traditionally nested in.
Yes.
So it is all ready for them. So fingers crossed they will come back at the right time in March and just start displaying and breeding.
Yeah, let's hope so. Because I know last year wasn't a very good year for the lapwings with you.
The weather was appalling. There was 2 very heavy hail storms at the time. Either they had very small chicks or they had eggs, and I never saw them again after that.
But hopefully they will come back this year. Well, thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you.
This is TisTalk from Tisbury, Wiltshire.
Now going a bit further afield into the Cranborne Chase, Jeni Bell is in the woodlands off the old Ox Drove.
This time of year always feels like we've been held in the clutches of winter for way too long. The weather is temperamental, to say the least, and it seems like there is a long way to go before the hazy days of summer return. But things are shifting faster than we think. Things are waking up, and we're stepping through the door into spring. This wait and the anticipation and all the subtle signs of a new season were the inspiration for this spoken word piece, called Rising. The world is waking, slowly, finally. In fairness, she has been awake for a while now. There have been signs. Her first sleepy stretches have sent snowdrops skyward through cold soil. They've turned the volume up on the robin song and have bookended each day with a little extra light. But no one wants to rush these things. Even the best of us take a while to wipe the sleep from our eyes and rise from our beds. So perhaps we should say she's rising instead. The world is rising. Slowly. Finally. And amongst those snowdrops, splashes of colour appear like spilled paint. Primroses, celandines, the sunny heads of daffodils. Yellow. One of the easiest colours for nature to create, or so I've been told. And it seems like a good place to start after the seemingly endless, washed-out winter days. These fresh signs of a new season are seeping out along the Nadder, etching their way along the Ebbles so they can reach out across the whole of the Cranborne Chase. There is a shifting, a stirring, spring's first utterings scattered like seeds by song thrush's voice. Although things aren't quite in full swing yet. Raindrops still fall heavily. Mud squelches underfoot. And have you felt the bite in that wind? But the grey clouds will give way to pockets of clear blue. And the sparrows in my garden have started to squabble, and I've heard the drumming of woodpeckers echoing through the trees at Groveley. And once the world has woken, things move quickly. Soon the tang of wild garlic will fill woodland rides, and the low hum of bees will be a welcome addition to our daily soundtracks. Just recently, my walks along the old Shaftesbury Drove have been punctuated with pauses as I stop to watch pairs of ravens slipping the air, folding their broad wings into barrow rolls as they trace the steep contours of the combes down into the chalk valley, thoughts of nesting not far from their minds. Oh yes, the world is waking. No, the world is rising. Slowly. Finally.
Follow us on Instagram at TisTalk Radio.
Now, we're pleased to introduce Nigel Timms and Iain Giles, who produce a local podcast near here called The Ramblers. They live near Martin Down and both volunteer for the Cranborne Chase National Landscape. Since Tisbury is at the heart of the Cranborne Chase area, what used to be called the Area of Outstanding Natural Beauty, we've taken this chance to have a regular link-up with these two gentlemen and hear what they've got to say about the wildlife, the landscape and the heritage of the chase in their ramblings. This week, they tackle walk number 21, the Martin Down and Pentridge Loop. We joined them on a cold day a couple of weeks ago in a car park on the A354.
So we're stood in the A354 car park. It's a slightly overcast day, freezing, got my gloves on.
Quite cold.
And we've got lovely information boards supplied by Natural England that tell you information about the Down, things you'll find now, a bit of history.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, are we going to do this clockwise or anti-clockwise? How does it recommend?
We go anti-clockwise.
Oh, we're going to go anti-clockwise?
Yeah.
Nice, so that means we're going to cross over into Dorset. Are we in Dorset already? I don't think we are quite yet, are we? We're still in Hampshire.
I'm not sure.
No, we are, because we're still on the nature reserve, so...
Right.
Yeah, so that's another thing. We're going to do... It's a two-county walk. So it's not surprising that we're going to be in two counties today, because three counties meet on the parish boundary of Martin. It's Wiltshire, Hampshire and Dorset. Whilst Martin is in Hampshire, and I think the name Martin derives from Old English, and the two parts of it, mar or mere, means boundary, and tun or tin means place. So Martin is literally a boundary place.
Oh, right, okay.
So
that's interesting.
Look at that red kite just hanging in the wind.
I know, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Interesting, the kestrel is the only bird of prey that can hover, but buzzards and red kites both wind hang. So they get into a facing wind and they don't move their wings like the kestrel does, because kestrel generates the hover. Oh look, and there's another red kite in the distance doing the same.
Yeah.
But buzzards and red kites effectively hover by wind hanging.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And so they're in that little space looking down.
I love that. If you watch their tail, which obviously is where they get their name from, I assume. It just sort of wobbles a little bit.
Yeah.
I do love a red kite. They're native, aren't they?
Yes.
And reintroduced.
Reintroduced around the country after the population plummeted to a tiny number, like 40 something in Wales. They're the sort of success story for reintroduction.
Yeah.
So we're approaching the top of Penbury Knoll. So we've just got this line of...
Is this Penbury or...
Penbury.
And we walk through the village of...
Oh, my Pentridge.
Pentridge. But I would, based on the walk so far, I would definitely recommend it. Just purely on this bit here alone.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're walking on the ridge of Pentridge Hill at the moment. Looking over to our left, which is... What direction is it? Tell you what, I'm not going to have to guess. I'm going to use my compass. We're looking northwest.
Northwest, rather, yeah.
We're looking northwest. If we look north, we will hit... That's got to be Wiltshire over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And west takes us deep into Dorset. We've got to be in Dorset now because we're over Bockley Dyke.
Yeah.
So we're in Dorset. I do like Dorset. It has. Look at the scrub clearance here.
It's a lot, isn't it?
Look at that. Now this has not been done as we do it by hand, and then
killed off.
Herbicided the stumps to control it. So this has been done on an industrial level, and they've cleared it as well.
It's probably just been done with a hater, A flail mower.
Yeah. Because we're in the Cranborne Chase, one of the distinctive things is that there's more earthworks and landscape archaeology than just about anywhere else in northern Europe.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of those amazing facts about the Cranborne Chase.
And why is that though?
Not sure, other than there must have been a lot of relative terms, a lot of construction, and it's survived.
10k so far.
10k, is that all? It's only, what, 6 miles?
Does it seem further then?
No, I didn't think we'd done that far, actually.
Oh, it's not a bad little walk, is it?
No, it doesn't feel 10k. It's your company. It's just the time has flown by.
It melted away.
Yeah.
Well, it has gone quick though, hasn't it?
It has, actually.
Yeah. So how was the walk for you?
It was a great walk. Really enjoyed it. Fabulous scenery, particularly as we climbed up Pembury Knoll and looked out across the 3 counties.
Yeah.
And it wasn't challenging physically.
No, I think for me that coming down into Martin Down, by the time you've done that distance, is a bit trying, particularly on my old dodgy knee.
Yeah.
But overall, what I liked about it, I think, was the variety of the walk.
Yeah.
So we went across fields, we went obviously through part of Martin Down and quite a big part of it coming back. Fantastic views. I love Pembury Knoll, or Pentridge Hill, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's nice to stop there for coffee because it's just about halfway. Yeah, overall I have to say it's a really thanks everyone, and it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
And that was Nigel Timms ending that extract from the Ramblers podcast. And if you're interested in hearing more of Iain and Nigel rambling on, then go to theramblerspodcast.buzzsprout.com. Thanks for joining me on this special nature episode of TisTalk. Julianne will be back next week, so we both look forward to seeing you again then. Bye!